So today we are talking old money, but specifically budget-friendly ways to make your room feel old money. Also, can I just say this is officially my favorite background to shoot in front of. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so I've been doing this series for a little bit now and I absolutely love it because, let's face it, we love aesthetics and that's why we're all here, right? So if you love an aesthetic, you kind of want an ode to that aesthetic within your room, then this video will just show you how to do it without spending a lot of money. So if you don't know what old money is exactly what you think it is. It is an aesthetic that is based around generational wealth. So when I talk about the interiors of old money, think of classic and traditional interior design. Most of the ideas on this list I have done myself. So the reason I am recommending them to you is because it's something I have done and I have felt made a big difference in my space. We are going to start with the most expensive things and then move down to the things that cost you nothing but your time. And we love that. We love that. So before I even go into talking about the items, I think my biggest tip in general is to really stick to what classical interior design is and traditional, and that is symmetry. Symmetry is so important, and it's something that is easy and attainable. It's something that you can do with the items you already own. As you can tell behind me, I have everything. Everything is very symmetrical. I don't think that you need identical bedside tables, but I do think that the lamps, the frames, the photos in the frames, very important. And it's something that's small that you can do that makes the room look more old money is just by adding symmetry and just really paying attention to that. Just wanted to mention that before I got into the ideas on this list. So the first one is one that I've done in my own space, and that is wainscoting, which you can see behind me. I have 3 picture frame decorative wainscoting panels behind me, and I could not be happier with the turnout. I think in terms of transforming your space in a big way, that has to be it for me. The wall that you see behind me cost me under $100 to make. That is also including this embellishment right here in the center. I also have a whole video just on the wainscoting process and how I did this wall behind me if you would like to check that out. Here you can click on the card.
The first thing you'll want to do is find the white panels, find a design that you like, then you can look for the size you are wanting because normally they carry different sizes in each design. And I looked at panels such as these that laid flush to the wall on each side. It's also extremely important to lay down your panels on the ground to make sure that the wood is not warped in any way.
So here are all of the dimensions that I will be cutting and how many pieces. So I've got 4 pieces of 23.5 inches, 6 pieces of 48 inches, and 2 pieces of 41.5 inches.
When cutting anything, especially material like this, it's super important to wear a face mask because those particles are cancerous. So always wear a face mask and always wear eye protection.
This is what I'm going to be using to cut my panel. I got this, I think it was around $200 or $300, maybe it was less.
All I did was set up my pop-up table and hang the panel off the side, mark it, and cut it.
Now I only did one wall, and if I did all of my walls, it would end up costing quite a bit. It can definitely range depending on if you want one accent wall or if you want all of them done. But I had to put this one first on the list because of all of them, it's my favorite. And I am so sad that I have waited this long to do this project. So if you're really looking to transform your space in a big way, this would have to be what I would recommend doing. The next one is to get damask wallpaper. And I looked up the prices for these already just so you have a little understanding of how much you might spend if you do this. So for a 1.5 foot by 32 foot, it costs $38. And this is not a peel and stick wallpaper, this is just a normal one that you would have to apply with glue. This is a long-term one. But if you wanted a peel and stick, I actually found one for $29. You're getting less but it is a little bit cheaper and it's peel and stick, so it's much easier to apply. And the reason I say damask is because damask wallpaper is something that you will commonly see within a classical interior designed home, along with traditional as well. And I just think having an accent wall can make a big difference to a space, and this is a little more on the pricey side, but if I was able to add an accent wall to my home, I definitely would. Especially if I was able to put damask wallpaper in between the wainscoting, I would just simply pass away. It would be so beautiful. The next one is to consider getting drapes for your room. And if you have blinds or shutters, adding drapes to your space can make a really big difference, trust me. And it's also a really good way to make a small room feel larger because you are adding those drapes all the way to the top of the ceiling and allowing them to go all the way to the floor, so it makes the room feel taller. For blackout drapes that reach from the ceiling to the floor, you're looking around $35 to $70 for one panel. Can be more on the pricey side. Now, if you don't want a blackout curtain, it will definitely be cheaper. I had to put this higher up on the list because it can get expensive depending on what you want. The next one is to get cohesive bed sheets and a bed skirt for your room. This is something I started doing recently, and I love the way it looks. I love the way I feel in the room. It feels very clean and put together. It just really brings the whole space together. As you can see behind me, my duvet cover is cream along with my pillowcases, and underneath I have my sheet showing that is bright white, and it's cohesive. It matches with everything in my room. I don't know, it makes it feel very ethereal and light and airy, and I just love the way it looks. Pretty much you want to choose a color palette within your space and then make sure that everything kind of surrounds that color palette, because if you have too many colors sticking out here and there, it's just gonna look very distracting and cluttered. I am the type of person that will just put anything on my bed. Like the pillowcases won't match, the sheet won't match, the fitted sheet won't match. Like it kind of looks like a mess, and I don't care. But recently I've stopped doing that. I have started investing more time into making sure that my stuff matches, and I feel better. I feel like more of an elegant person. I feel like I live a fancier life than what I do. I don't know what else to say. I love it. Next is to have a cohesive color palette in your room, and I said this with the bed sheets, but I guess I didn't really get to the point that having a cohesive color palette in your entire space. Make sure that you decide on what accent colors you want, what the color of your bed sheets are going to be, your pictures in your picture frames, your decor laying around your room. Just make sure everything looks cohesive and nothing looks out of place. So almost if you took a photo of it and it was able to select every color in your room, they would all be very similar. That's what you would want. The next idea is to get matching bedside lamps. And I didn't say dressers because I'm personally not a big fan of matching dressers. I actually did not intend to get two matching dressers for my room makeover. It just kind of happened and it was the only thing I could find. I wanted two different ones. I felt like it would have given it more character. So the reason I put two matching lamps is because this really gives you that symmetrical feel that old money classical interior design has, and it's a simple thing that you can thrift. I really like how thin and simple the lamp is itself. I do wish that this gold wasn't so shiny, but I thrifted it and I think it's great considering. Both of the lamps were $8 a piece, so I spent $16 in total for two lamps, and I think I really lucked out. And honestly, these lamps add so much to the space. They're scalloped, they're beautiful, they give off great lighting, they have gold accent, and for some reason it just elevates the space a little bit. And I think that's mostly because when it comes to classical interior design and traditional interior design, you're really going to see lots of symmetry within the spaces, and having two matching bedside lamps does that, you know, it adds symmetry. Another thing you could do is to add a chandelier. I don't have a fan in my room. I'm not even sure what kind of light is up there. It's like a I can't explain it, but I actually looked at getting a chandelier to add, but I realized it wouldn't work with what they did in the ceiling. I'm renting. There's not much I can do. But if I had the opportunity to put a chandelier in my room, boy would I, because that would make such a big difference. First of all, crystal in general is beautiful, and having a chandelier that has crystals reflecting all these rainbows and stuff, I love it. It is an instant way to elevate your room and make it feel old money. Instant. I mean, it really depends what kind of old money style you're going for, but I had to put it on the list for those of you that really want that more, luxurious old money feel. The next one is to add accent pillows to your space, but most importantly, to make sure your pillows that you have on your bed every day match. What I mean by that is, if you see my pillows behind me, you can see that they're the exact same size, they match, they have the same pillowcases. Make sure you buy a pillow that is all the same size, because I learned from me, went out and bought individual pillows each time, and they all happened to be different sizes. So I had them on my bed for a really long time, but they didn't fit in the pillowcases. Some of them did, some of them didn't, and it just looked like a mess. That's the easiest way to put it. It looked like a mess. But now I have 2 pillows and the 2 behind it that match perfectly. And it's just a small thing and that makes a big difference. If you have matching pillows, you can also add accent pillows. It's just another thing that can add detail to your room. And I personally don't own any accent pillows, but I do like them, and if I found the right one, I think I would add it to my space, just because you can get some with like tassels, and there's so many luxurious accent pillows that don't cost you a ton of money, but can add a lot to your room. The next thing you can do is start adding in some gold accent decor. You could even spray paint some decor that you currently own. Having metallic accents make a room feel very old money. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, spray painted isn't old money. Like, I know, guys, but this is a budget-friendly way to make your room feel old money. If that takes spray painting a couple items, I say do it. The next idea is to get fresh flowers and put them in your space. I also am okay with fake flowers too. I know people are so against fake plants. I'm not, but I know that fresh flowers are commonly seen in, very classy, expensive homes. So it's something that adds a really good scent to your room, and it also looks beautiful. And speaking of scent is extremely important, especially in your bedroom. So adding something that will give off a really nice smell, such as a candle. Next is by adding some gold framed pictures to your room, like the ones that you see behind me. I got these 2 right here in a smaller size, and I actually really enjoy the print. I feel like it works perfectly with my color scheme in my room, so I am going to be keeping this. I got these 2, and I plan on putting different prints inside of them. I am going to be spray painting the frames gold so they all match.
To prep my frames for spray painting, I cleaned them, I popped out the backs, and I took out the glass. 2 of the frames that had the pictures in it already, I could not pop out the back without ripping off paper that was stapled in place. So instead I ripped up a plastic bag and I taped off the glass using painter's tape and the bag, like what you see here. For the spray paint, I purchased this metallic gold from my local arts and crafts store, and it cost me around $5. Make sure that you are doing this outside if you do not have a proper mask to wear, because the fumes are very toxic. I like to spray mine in a box and then close the box after it's sprayed and leave it for a little bit and come back to let the fumes clear out. Once I finished spray painting and they dried, I ripped off the taped off areas from the front of the frames. And then I cleaned the glass. I really wanted art in the frames that was identical, but because I'm thrifting, it's kind of hard to do that. But I did find one print that had a sketch of a plant, which I thought was beautiful, and I just pulled out another one that I just thought looked pretty elegant. And in order to make it look even nicer, I DIY'd a backboard by just using white printing paper. It was super easy to do this. All I did was I cut the pieces into strips and taped them from behind and laid the print inside of it. Once it was all taped in, this is how it turned out. I mean, you look at it, you might be able to tell it's spray painted, maybe not. I think it looks wonderful. I really think it looks great. It's a small thing that I did to make the room feel more elegant. The next one is to keep your items that you display organized. Make sure that they are cohesive with your color palette in your room, and hide away all those unnecessary items that just don't look pleasing to the eye and also don't fit the color palette. So for me personally, I put my nighttime items away in a drawer. I put like my lotion in there, my chapstick. I don't keep that out to display. It just doesn't look great. I also think keeping things more clean and simple looks more elegant. And with that, make sure that you keep your room clean, because having a clean space, I think, is a must. Next is to upgrade hardware on your furniture. This is such a simple thing to do. Your handles on your doors, your hooks in your bedroom, your light switches, your outlets. You can add some, embellishments around your outlets. It's a small thing you can do, makes a big difference. It's probably something only you will notice, but I say do it. And the last one is to paint your walls. So if you currently have different colored walls or just something that kind of feels very distracting, go with a different color. For me, having white walls gave me the opportunity to do the makeover that I wanted when it came to old money, because I just felt like it was the easiest thing to work with. It kind of just felt very clean and ethereal, and that's what I was going for. So I know, white is pretty basic, and if I was able to paint, I would probably go with like a warmer tone, but I think, this did the trick. If this was a red wall in the background, it wouldn't feel the same. I think that's it. I hope that you guys liked all these ideas. If you have more, feel free to share them with everyone below. And if you would like to check out my old money room makeover, I do have that video up now if you want to see it, and I'll leave the card up here. Anyways, thanks again for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!